Now, this is the story of the 5 blind guys, or the 5 blind people. This is another story that comes to us from the wisdom of the East. But once there were 5 people who had been blind from birth, and they lived together. They had met in school, and their families had banded together to help them build a house to their own design, so that these people could live there and take care pretty much of their own needs without much help from anyone else. They did have a carer, a young man who would buy the groceries and drive them places and take care of any chores they couldn't do for themselves. But by and large, these 5 people lived together in harmony and took care of their own needs. And one day, after listening to a nature program on the radio, they realized that none of them had ever had an encounter with an elephant, but they all wanted to. And so now Woburn Sands Safari Park, which is just up the road from me, they have an elephant encounter. And so it was where these 5 people lived. There was a zoo nearby, and they booked a private afternoon where they could go and interact with an elephant to learn more about the creature. And their young man drove them there, and the elephant was brought out, and the 5 arranged themselves in a circle around the creature. And so the first one, he got the trunk of the elephant, and feeling it, he said, "Ah," and it hissed a bit as it blew air out of its trunk. And he said, "Yes, I understand. It's like a snake." And then the next one around had the ear, and he said, "Ah, yes, now I understand. It's wide and pliant, like a cloth or a flag." And the next one, well, he had the leg. It's like a column, firm and strong, like you would find on a building. And the next, well, he had the side of the elephant, and feeling it, he said, "Yes, I see. It's like a wall, and actually a bit like a drum, stretched tight flesh, but he could feel the beating of the heart inside." And of course, one had the tail, which was thin and stringy like a rope. And he said, "Yes, now I understand." And then after they had finished investigating the elephant, and of course had all washed their hands, they had a nice tea together. And so it wasn't until they were in the car going home that the argument began to start. And because they had each had their own personal encounter, and anyone can see, as the first said, that it was a snake. It was flexible, it was twisty, it curled. And no, 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 said the next. It was flexible, yes, but wide and bendy like a flag. And the third one was like, "What are you talking about? Flexible, it was a column, strong and sturdy." And the next was like, "No, of course, strong and sturdy. Yes, I can go with that, but it was a drum." And of course, the last one was like, "No, it's a rope. You could tie it. It was skinny and long." And the fight carried on until they got home and increased in volume. And the young carer was like, "No, no, it was the same creature. You just each had a part of it." But no one was listening to him, and they fought until that house of their own design came crashing down about their ears, because they could not understand that each of them only had a part of the truth and did not understand the whole. The story of the 5 blind guys.